Chapter 17, my ebook, Engineering Reality. This chapter is about unconditional love. And I like dictionary.com's definition of it, which is complete love. The loving of any and all individuals, okay, without exception, without expectation, okay. It is loving a person for who and what they are without applying any of your own conditions or causes or effects to them. So, a big problem that happens with a lot of people is that they confuse unconditional love with romantic love, vice versa. Okay, there is a world of difference between unconditional love and romantic love. Unconditional love has absolutely no sexual pull between it, okay? It is not based upon the same romantic ideals, it's not based upon any sort of control issues, it's not based upon any preconceived notions, okay? Romantic love, at least the Western ideal of romantic love, is based primarily upon monogamy, which it should be, okay? The idea of monogamy, what ends up happening is there are control issues that sometimes spur from the idea of monogamy. The best thing to do is, if you are going to be in a romantic relationship, is that you have an unconditional love relationship established with your partner beforehand, which means you've gotten to know them for a while, okay, before you chose to embark upon a sexual relationship or anything that is romantically based. Now, romantic relationships, especially Western, are notorious for having any number of control issues. We, in this country, have a 50% divorce rate. So that's either a failure rate or a success rate, whichever you want to call it. It's about the same as flipping a coin, okay? So almost every single married couple that embark upon a relationship with each other in this country have about the success of flipping a coin to see if they're going to last or not. And that's one of the reasons is because some of the expectations that have been placed upon romantic relationships. Not only does the media shape it, okay, you've got companies like Disney, which absolutely have defined the idea of romanticism in the minds of almost every child. And every child that grows up in this country, we're talking about generations upon generations upon generations. They come up with the princess syndrome or the prince in shining armor syndrome, one way or the next. Either the females have to be in need of saving from, male. They need to marry into a wealthy family. And then they have to be absolutely drop dead beautiful. And from there we get the idea that's perpetuated that it's okay to marry into wealth and royalty for the sake of having clout in the world. Okay? And so, Western ideals of romanticism have been infiltrated and infected by commercialism, okay, by corporations. Now there's a reason why corporations, or even the state itself, would push romantic relationships and even provide tax incentives for such a thing, okay? Because they can act as a third party to your relationship, okay? Not only for financial definition and to watch you, okay? But then they can dictate the rules of what your relationship is under state law. It's a great way of taxing you. It's a great way of keeping track of everybody and everything. There's certain incentives that even welfare provides for married couples who have children, okay? Or even single at this point who have children. They can literally get more for money for having more children, literally. So, and believe me, it gets a lot more complex than that. But I want you to understand that this is the design that has been set up, okay? There's a reason why the state itself fights so hard against the idea of abortion. Me, myself, I'm not for or against abortion. I'll be honest, I think it's all a free will choice. But let me tell you something. The system that desperately requires more and more energy, okay, the more people that are born into this planet, okay, the more they're using us as sources, as batteries, okay? So they're counting on the fact that each person that's born in here is worth X amount of work, X amount of dollars, X amount of cents, okay? And so for every person that they can get in here, okay, that is slave labor, straight up. So you got to understand that there's a reason, and it's not because of family values. There's a reason why romantic love is pushed upon you so heavily. Okay, that plays on plays on your psyche in a very heavy manner. Women feel the need to look beautiful because of romanticism. They feel the need to go above and beyond in their features. Will starve themselves to death just to attract a mate. Men, of course, will beef up, fill themselves with testosterone, and act silly just in the name of getting sex. Okay? Literally act like buffoons. Don't even realize how sad it looks and appears. I myself used to run around doing it, but now, I can stand back and actually watch the mating ritual or the mating practice and literally see the humor in all of it. Because we pretend to be things that we are not, okay, in order to get the companion of quote-unquote choice. So often a lot of relationships are started off in a dishonest manner. Unconditional love is something completely different. Unconditional love is the love that you feel for your brother, your mother, your pets, okay, or your pets do for you. That is unconditional love. Unconditional love is what a mother feels when she first gives birth and puts the child up to her chest. That's unconditional love. It is an extremely powerful, universal explosion. Okay, it is made of the most pure of energy. Okay, and this is the reason why we should be able to apply unconditional love to everything around us, because we are reflections and echoes of everything around us. There is not one last thing that we're not technically woven into. It may look like that I'm separate from this tree, separate from this stuff here. We're in the same energetic field, and I can promise you, I am interwoven into this. I'm interwoven into that camera which is up there. I'm interwoven into you who are watching me from any number of distances. One big energetic signature, a waveform, a wavelength, just spanning space and time. One massive wavelength made of billions upon trillions of frequencies, all of which believe themselves to be separate from the next, but still flowing in one ocean. Unconditional love is one of the strongest values that this universe, this particular area of the universe anyway, has ever felt. Because the whole place is made of separation. To bring in a code like unconditional love, where it reminds one of unity and universal value, is a very powerful code to apply to a place like this. Okay? For those who are on my Facebook, if you've gotten on my Facebook and you have access to the unconditional love code, that's what it's called. The unconditional love code is 17.7777777 infinity. has a very powerful effect upon the machine environment. Okay? It's one that reminds everything of unity and love. How did I come up with that number? You'll have to actually look that up on Facebook, okay? Or I will also maybe make mention of it in the book, but that is a long process, okay? The most important thing that you need to know is in this particular part of the universe, when you feel unconditional love, it translates as a number 17.777 infinity, okay? And that begins to reprogram area around you. That code can be used for a number of things, okay? But understand that when you're using it, it has its absolute most prime value is when you are feeling that unconditional love feeling, that emotion, okay? Because again, it translates into a frequency. It translates into a number. If it translates into a frequency, then it's digitally being seen. It's literally showing up in the screen as such. Because it literally bends reality around you. If everything is maybe separation, you've got a code which talks about unity, well then it starts to actually juice things up. Now remember, you're in a system that is primarily, as far as the meat tissue of this system, it's made of sixes, the carbon. We'll talk about that. Okay, so those are the numerics. So anytime you bring in something that may be an upgrade, okay, what that does is that turns up the heat. Speaking of which, many of the solar flares that hit this planet are tuned to that frequency. Okay, so it hits the planet, it saturates the planet with this frequency, right? And anything that is having a hard time letting go of the negative frequency, it'll cause turbulence. Sometimes there'll be earthquakes. Remember, the carbon code is 666. Okay, it's a real number. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. Okay, so in places where there's fault lines and stuff like that, and there's a carbon code, and it's represented in the 666 pattern, and you have something that comes in made of 17s and 7s that hits that code, it's going to rattle it, because what's going on is it's actually accelerating those atoms. It can cause turbulence. Okay, because that's how powerful that code is. Especially if, again, the areas that's being affected most are lower vibrational and frequency. That can definitely speed things up and then cause any number of things to happen. Another way earthquakes can happen, of course, is being hit by extremely low frequencies, which again rattle. Okay? Just vibrates really heavy to the point where it starts moving and then boom, earthquake. You'd be surprised what frequencies can do. It's the reason why LRAD devices are so incredibly powerful to the human ear. Everything's a frequency, okay, even light. And everything translates that way into light. The electromagnetic spectrum completely translates into light. Certain wavelengths and certain colors. Unconditional love is an essential part of human evolution. It is the one thing that has not been practiced by the whole of this planet for millennia, since this portion of modern man came to be, the Homo sapien. All right? It has experienced nothing but war and division. So now, this particular code, if practiced by the collective as opposed to just a few, but if practiced by the collective, it'll be the thing that rewrites the entire way that this planet operates. That is for sure, and without a doubt. It's hard to control people with fear if they all realize that they're unified. Okay? It's hard to get people to think of their neighbor as terrorists, quote unquote, if they have relationships with them and they realize that they are literally unified with those people. for me, it's even hard for me to even think of the idea of, because there's a lot of people out there who want to hurt the elites. Not me. Okay, because I still know that those are my brethren. If I'm truly unified, it's really hard for me to want to see harm come to people that I know are a part of me, regardless of whether their behaviors are something that I don't like. And there's a lot of people out there who really do wish for pain to come upon those people. Okay, it's very much equated to the idea that a lot of Christians, for whatever reason, I'm not talking all of them, but there are Christians who have this idea that when they go to heaven, that they will be able to look down upon their other brethren who did not accept Jesus Christ as their Savior and watch them burn. Why would God want something like that for you or for anybody else? Why is watching torture and torment something that you would consider to be of a heavenly value? To me, a heavenly value is where everyone is up there, everyone's getting along, it's beautiful, beyond fifth dimensional environment. Everyone is, you know, you can fly, you can literally manifest anything at will. And the thing is in my personal heaven, the only thing that I want to manifest is love. Okay? In my personal heaven, every single being has its own beautiful mansion, an own beautiful place where it can cultivate its creations in peace. That's my heaven. Okay? In my heaven, everybody and everything is beautiful, no matter what they look like, no matter what they act like. And in my heaven, there isn't lower vibrational negative behavior. People know how to treat each other. In my heaven, it is made of unconditional love, where everything and everybody is accepted. You know, I've often told people that my instructors, be it my trainers for stuff like this, I've never been trained by a human being on planet, but I've had instructors that are off planet. Now, I have been trained by the natural system on planet. I consider this to be one of my best trainers, as well as animals, okay, because they really help me plug into the idea of unconditional love. By the way, if you have a problem connecting into unconditional love, a pet is one of the best ways to do it. Because you will see that that pet looks at you with so much love, so much peace within their souls, so much harmony. It's hard not to return that love with love. You should be able to look into your pet's eyes and see that love emanating back at you, be able to feel it right back into them. And that should be the same love that you feel for everything. Okay, so now getting back to the idea of my trainers. My trainers are off-planet trainers. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's up to you. It is of little value to me whether you do it. But I can tell you this. It took me a while to really fully love them unconditionally because of the way they looked, sometimes the way they treated me. Okay, but to train me the best that they could, they had to do that. A lot of the stuff that they did, they had to do to make me stronger. Okay? Some of the trainers don't look what you would consider to be pretty. And a lot of people would look at something like that and judge it. Or at least not pretty to our eyesight. Okay? And a lot of people would look at something like that and judge it. At this point, I can look at anything and realize it's 100% my brother. It's a part of me, I'm a part of it. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It could be a slug. Okay? Every last thing is a part of me. And you. And to deny it is literally to deny yourself. Unconditional love allows you to really look into the universe and see every last portion of it as a part of yourself. I've had a few experiences in my life where, to be quite honest, that idea was more or less enforced upon me to the point it's hard hard to describe this correctly. My free will in many ways got negated, okay? But I'm happy that it did get negated. Because otherwise I wouldn't have the access to the unconditional love that I do now. But I had my switches turned on in a way one time where it was rather invasive. But when I started really feeling that unconditional love start to come in, something that I had never really let in before. When I finally felt that, I understood at that given point the reason why I had to start training and the reason why I had to start helping as many other people as possible to get that connection. The abilities are a side effect, okay? This is a side effect. And it's the only reason why it's there is to show you that you're doing things right. Okay, because what this is a sign that you are connected. So the only reason why I'm able to do this, A, there's a code that allows it, and B, I'm connected to it. I'm a part of it. So then I can just reach over and whack. See? Not a bit of this was going beforehand. I mean, it was kicking up every once in a while when I was talking. But that was quite dead until I reached over to it. I'm a part of this stuff. And my knowledge reflects it. Now, because I have the nerve to show some energy movement while I was talking to you about unconditional love, I must also qualify this situation real quick. That's how things operate. Okay, I'm up on top of this. This is doorway number 8. No cables or anything coming out, so there's no fan. Doorway number 7. Now take a look. This is the corner where I'm at. There's the tripod. Take a look here. So you're getting this first person view. Now, one second. Just enough to show you. Now look down here. No fans. Back behind here, no fans. This is up against the wall. Now, let's go around the back. And this is just in case, you know, skeptics end up watching this video for whatever reason, who knows. Right now it's only going to be made available to people who purchase the book. Take a look. No fans. And it started raining just now. So as you can see, no fans. It's coming from the air at this point. It's coming from this direction, but keep in mind, we got a brick wall right here, okay? So, take a look. Okay, and there goes the machine. Now, one of these days I have to do a video really illustrating the machine and how it operates. And you know what I'm gonna do? Get a couple of these little berries, see? Now I'm going back to where I was at to finish what I was stating about unconditional love. Now this is at 25 minutes, so I'm about to end this. No one wants to watch a 30-minute video. Well, in this case, I guess you're going to have to, right? So we're putting this right back on the tripod. I'm going to wipe this off just in case the rain hit it. And I've got to put my hat back over it. You can't see it, but I can. So, unconditional love is the complete acceptance of an individual. It's the complete loving of an individual. No expectations. This is not romantically based either. Okay? Unconditional love should be that, something that is entirely clean. Okay, so it can't have a lot of root chakra energy behind it. Okay? Root chakra energy is red. Okay? It's made of a different wavelength. It is the most primal chakra within our entire system, energetically. It is that which connects us to the fight or flight aspects of us. Okay? Through the root chakra, this is where the violence centers are. So you have to be very smart in the way you perceive how reality operates. Okay? Now all the chakras can be cleansed and they can emanate any color if charged properly. However, you cannot confuse the idea of unconditional love with romantic love. Otherwise, you will end up being extremely confused yourself. The two are two different things. Again, as I said before, one can unconditionally love their romantic partner. But typically, those sort of relationships are developed slowly. It's not one of the things where you just meet a person, you hop in bed with them, you're having a relationship for a little while, and then it lasts maybe under a year because you two didn't get to know each other first. Okay, unconditional love is about complete and total freedom. It's 100% about freedom. It's about equality. Okay? You should be able to love in an unconditional manner some human being across the planet whom you've never met the same exact way that you love your child whom you brought up and raised. That may be an abstract concept to many people, but you got to understand that this is the very concept that initially Jesus was speaking of. For those who are Christian-based, this is what Jesus was talking about. Unconditional love is loving equally across the board every single person and realizing that every single person is your brother, your universal brother. So, there are many who have come in the name of love, true love. There are many people who have stuck their neck out in order to bring that message. Okay, a lot of people got wiped off the planet for doing so. Me, myself, I'm not really worried about that. I'm quite well protected. So I'm not worried about that whatsoever. It's part of my job. It's my universal duty. Can't be afraid to do my duty. I will tell you that many people have come and made themselves martyrs to make an example for you. Me, myself, I'm not martyring myself. I've got other plans. And I can't very well teach people and give them access to this knowledge if I'm dead. Now, can I? So, it's not going to work. But I will tell you this, at some point, my time here will end up being limited by myself. Because at some point, I'm going to be going back home. And I know just how to get there. It has nothing to do with suicide either, just so you know. But I will be going back home. I know how to operate it. And trust me, when the day comes when I finally fully decided, it's gone. But I will leave as much knowledge behind as I possibly can before that day comes. Anyway, unconditional love, eternal love and harmony to you. I'm glad you chose this book. I do believe that if you apply the information and the knowledge in this book, that you will be able to create whatever reality there is of your choice. And make sure that you do this with a clean ego, with a clean soul. Because if you wrap a bunch of fears and weaknesses and self-doubts into your design, that will unravel the design that you were initially creating of the world that you want. There's no such thing as, to be quite honest, in the unified field, there's no such thing as even a polarity. There's no negativity. There's no nothing like that. It's only in places like this where we are in separate modes can we even entertain the idea of separation. We can entertain the idea of hate. None of that stuff's real. You have no enemies. The only enemies you have are the ones that you create for yourself. The machine is not your enemy. The machine is running algorithms for 7 billion people. Sometimes when you don't get what you want, or if you experience attacks, it is because it is also running the free will of others. Sometimes what we think of as direct attacks aren't necessarily so. Sometimes those attacks that we believe that have been perpetrated upon us are actually us sabotaging us. And it just looks like it's coming from some external direction. We are all love. We are one. We are peace. We are truth. Unconditional love to all of you. I love you with all my soul.